Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. TIMBP Live is back in action. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a great week. I need to turn my mic up a little bit, don't I? Yes, I do. That is so much better. I hope you guys are ready to talk about what's been going on in the world of bourbon this past week, and then some a little bit too, because we haven't caught up on news in a bit. We're not going to do quite what we used to on the podcast, but at the very least, I wanted to kind of bring stuff back to being more topical with the live streams. And not that, it wasn't topical with the St. Patty's Day stuff, but just figured that we'd structure ourselves a little better here on Thursday evenings. And I want to say thank you so much to everybody who is watching right now. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Follow on social media. Clifton the Bourbon Bites is here. Or he stopped in at 5:25 in the afternoon and said, "Is this a new Mario Kart track or a distillery?" I don't know what to tell you, bud. Miss Emily Chambers is here. Good to see you, Em. Darren, I hope to see you this weekend in Louisville. Bill's asking, Scotch? Yes! I'm going to be reviewing Monkey Shoulder tonight, so stick around for that. So, peeps, what's up with you, Donnie? I hope you're doing well. I will get to the Papa Ritter house update here in just a bit. What's cracking with you, Bill? Let's do the dang thing. Let's do it. Tony Bag of Donuts. Had a little bit of a donut today. It was nice. Sugar Kitty says meow. And I say meow. Right back. It smells a lot like cats up here. Don Nishida, all the way in Hawaii, says, I purchased my airline tickets to TIMBP Weekend 2023. It's getting real. I'm so happy that it's getting real for people. And Don, I'm glad you've got that booked as well. Mr. Tony Benavides, I'm here for the pancake. I'm going to get banned on YouTube for saying that, I feel like. Donnie also says, mash that like button, click subscribe, and ring that bell, and choose all so you get notifications and you don't miss a thing. That is true. You should do all of those things. And if you would like to, you can also support the show either by heading to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month, or you can tip via StreamYard here live on air. Your message through StreamYard will pop up on screen right up here, much like the Twitch bots did last week. Week ain't over yet. I feel that. All right. Well, I haven't poured anything yet, so I think we need to do that before we go too far. But first item on the agenda is going to be the Blue Run Spirits Distillery reveal, which I am so excited to talk about. Got my Liquid Death sparkling going. And I don't want to go too high proof because the Monkey Shoulder's what? 86 proof, so we'll probably keep it a little bit lower, but that being said, Turkey 101 never hurt nobody, except for the people that are hurt in college, in which case, I'm sorry. But as for me and my house, we shall drink the turkey. I'm going to have to get a new French oak finish bottle going soon. Shauna Marie D. Hello, Shauna Marie. I don't think I've seen you around here before. She says, cheers all. Cheers to you. Glad to have you in the chat. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, but I also just want to give a very warm welcome to the new folks who stop in here, because that's what we're about. It's a big old family. There's always room for more. The bed's bigger than The one that all the kids in Cindy Lou Who's family sleep in. You know what would have been a better reference? The grandparents in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's how big it, but that's only 4 people. I don't know, man. Dadgum! Well, it's been a very interesting day here for This Is My Bourbon podcast as well. Partially self-inflicted, partially not. Partially I have to say some thanks to some dear friends as well. I'll start with really cool stuff. I think this might have been the first and only shout out that the podcast has ever gotten on Bourbon Pursuit, and that was courtesy of Fred Minnick's Above the Char. It was from a question that I asked him on Twitter back in January of 2022, so January of last year. Hello, Scott. Good to see you, buddy. And he said everybody should go look and listen to the podcast. We've actually picked up a couple new patrons today. Had somebody just edit their pledge as well. So thank you for that. Those thanks will be coming on next week's main episode of the podcast, which of course you can find in the main podcast audio feed or the video version here on YouTube as well. Donnie says timely. Yes, that was a very, very timely response that Fred had to my question. But regardless, it was very nice of him to do that and be so kind too about saying, hey, if you haven't already, go listen to TIMBP, go follow Perry. Just super nice, and just made my heart happy. Anthony Arterietta says, F your trains. Oh, good stuff. This is the only thing I've had to drink so far today. Not true, I had a beer with dinner. This is the only whiskey I've had so far today. Also, shoot, this is a good little showing here this early in the show tonight as well. While we were at 9, as soon as I brought it up, this happens every time. It was showing on my screen that there were almost 20 people here. Now it's down to 16. Come back. Please. All the support we could get is much appreciated. So we'll go ahead and get into this first bit of news, and I figured too that in this case, it just kind of made the most sense to share my screen with it as well. It's a very visual component. It's a very visual thing, and we're going to be talking a lot about just the structure and the organization of it, for sure. But what we are looking at is the first image of what will become the Blue Run Spirits Distillery in Georgetown, Kentucky. Now, as Clifton said at the top of the stream, is this a Mario Kart track or is this a bourbon distillery? And I love it. I mean, genuinely, I love this design. Bill brings up a good point. Flows like water. I think that that's something that we're... I stand by that question, and Donnie says yes to both. And as Emily said earlier, ¿por qué no los dos? Why can't we have both? But I do understand the architectural integrity of this. I understand what they're kind of going for with the overall structure. Just trying to create not only this image and this kind of visage of water that is basically the lifeblood of bourbon in general. Hey, General Armageddon's here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been well. I don't know what else to say. let me go through the chat, see what you guys are kind of saying about it as well. Don says, I haven't had any whiskey today either, but it's only 2 p.m. Could be worse. Oh, Scott, I'm sorry to hear that. I got food poisoning. Bag of Donuts says you're twitching over on Twitch. That is true. Go watch the show on Twitch if you would prefer to do that. Darren's back, had technical difficulties. Thanks for coming back. And Scott brings up a good point. It looks like an Amazon/Google/Apple headquarters. This was actually designed by the architect, who designed the Google headquarters, and the Lego Brand Museum. As you can actually, let me make sure that it's in up on the screen, actually highlighted for you right there in the article. So I think it's very intentional. That it's supposed to be. Okay, hold on. Jason C. Jason from the Mash and Drum. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna stop sharing so I can show you what he sent me. He said this is my version of the new distillery, which, as you can see, has the Blue Run butterfly on it. And my camera's not focusing super well. Oop, oop, oop. If I can move my hand one way. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Jason, thank you for sending that to me. Back to... Sorry about that. Back to... Boop, boop, boop. There we go. So anyway, yes. The overall structure of it for me does kind of give this indication of the lifeblood of bourbon, not just being water, but also having this impact of being like the non-linear path, or the not straight and narrow path that bourbon follows and has followed to be created. And I think it's also emblematic of the journey that somebody like Jim Rutledge has taken, who is the master distiller there, and that he's had all of these kind of twists and turns, and things haven't been exactly straight and narrow for him getting through his journey. Tony Beravide says, doesn't scream bourbon to me, not my vibe, but I can see people enjoying it. Is that roof copper? Donnie asked. I believe so. That's what it looks like. Also, Tony Beravide, I'm sorry, I wasn't just skipping over your comment. What happened to my shoulder? I'll talk about why I do agree that I think people will enjoy it. Clifton says, I like to picture the roof as a river of bourbon. I love that. Bill says, I don't think I'm a fan. It feels too modern, if that makes sense. And Tony Benavides totally agrees. I think it's cool, and it reminds me of Four Visors. Like four... It does kind of look like Four Visors. Hello again, Whiskey Friends. Hello, Jeffrey Wack. It is good to see you, buddy. What Don means is like those... like visors that, I mean, my mom would wear, I guess. But I like that descriptor. I think that's really funny. I wonder if can we just zoom in a little bit? There we go. So kind of breaking it down, you can see the grain tanks outside. Looks like at least 8 or 9 fermentation tanks inside. Love the little amphitheater. I think that's going to be just a super, super cool addition to... reminds you of a python from Show Me the Proof. Hello, Show Me the Proof. It does kind of look like a python. Kind of screams art museum. I can see that too. And maybe that's why I like it. I was an art student, and I spent a lot of time going to museums. And if they, it's a nice shot of Georgetown. What a beautiful little city. But if more art museums had actually kind of been built like this, especially around here, I think it would have been really cool. All right, General Armageddon. You're killing me, Smalls. Anybody try Larceny Bourbon? It's pretty good for mid-shelf booze. Definitely not in direct of response to something that was said on the podcast this week. It screams Blue Run. Wish it had a bit more nostalgia to it, but Blue Run is all about the modern experience. Actually, I don't mean to de-highlight that. I wanted to keep that up. I completely agree with you, Jason. I want to point to something on the design that I'm not entirely sure. I mean, from this angle, it kind of looks like a wine rack that you would find out in California at a vineyard. But that being said, I think that there is plenty of room for them to still display more nostalgic items that help kind of connect them to their roots and connect them to what allowed Jim Rutledge, I almost said Jeff Bridges, what allowed Jim Rutledge to get to this point and create his own brand as well. And I think that it's it makes it. I think that there are a lot of little aspects of this design that work within the brand of Blue Run. And I can understand the standpoint of it not being something that people enjoy that much because it is so inherently modern. I totally understand that. But bourbon now is modern. Bourbon is being modernized as well. And I think that, I'm not saying that we have to only accept a modernization of bourbon to keep up with the times. I do think that it is important that while we hold on to the things that have made bourbon so important to us for so long, we also need to embrace the future of it as well. That's my kind of thesis statement on it. Donnie says, I'm very left-brained and cannot design anything non-orthogonal, yet I find this design very pleasing. I do find it very pleasing. I find it very calming as well. And from a branding standpoint, Blue Run has always had this feeling of very simple, not being overly over-designed, having a few elements that work for it to grab your attention and get you to invest in a bottle of their product and enjoy it. And I think that's another thing. If we're talking about brand identity, I think that's really important to Blue Run with a building like this. I don't think, and to kind of bounce off of your comment as well, Donnie, I don't know if I would design something like this either, from a graphic design standpoint, being a graphic designer, but I don't know much at all about architecture. I can't even pretend to. But it wouldn't be the first thing I would go for, personally. Cool. But anyway, just build a wine rack at an angle so you don't get cork rot. I hope that's kind of what that is. Mike Meyer is here. Cheers all. Cheers to you, buddy. Hope you're well. I've never had Blue Run. Couldn't pull the trigger on them. Totally understandable. Who wants to send me some Blue Run samples? Thought it had something to do with bones. I love that. M dropping in for a second. Quick hi. Y'all feed Snuffy, mashy the buttons. Yes, please do indeed do that. So let's talk a little bit about the logistics of the distillery as well. Got some of the fun part out of the way early, which I didn't intend to. Blue Run Spirits will break ground in 2023 at the Lanes Run Business Park for the 35,000 square foot distillery. It is a $51 million project that was announced in August of last year. Expected to create 45 full-time jobs. Of course, that doesn't mean that it's not going to create part-time jobs within the Commonwealth, but I think it's a good step in. It's definitely a good step in the right direction. We've made a lot of progress as well in Kentucky, especially since COVID has kind of the impact of it has kind of started to soften in the past 6 to 8 months. We've seen the unemployment rate drop quite a bit in Kentucky as well. We just found out this week that we're down to 3.9% unemployment, which is pretty good for our economy. I'm not upset about that. The Bjark Ingles Group, based in Copenhagen and New York, created the design called Meander, which I think is really nice too, playing in with the sense of wandering that does kind of get implemented with the distillery. The company's release says the design is meant to evoke the journey of the limestone-rich water of the Royal Spring in Georgetown as it winds its way through the distilling, aging, and blending process to becoming fine Blue Run bourbons and rye whiskeys. They are heading in developing, giving everyone a glimpse at where we are heading in developing a welcoming, unexpected, and modern facility with a true focus on sustainability. Something else that I think is very important to note with this is that line right there, a true focus on sustainability, something that we are seeing more and more of becoming something important to bourbon drinkers, bourbon consumers, especially as newer bourbon drinkers are coming about, and our Gen Zers are more and more quickly crossing the 21-year-old threshold. This list is stupid. Okay. I still haven't had a sip of whiskey. I've just been talking this entire time. Oy. I like all of my architecture to be pleasing to the posture. Not a bad thing at all. So things might get a little ranty at this point, but I do think it is something that I don't know. I want to get into this a bit because it's gotten weirder and weirder this week, and over time it has as well. And I wanted to start here with an article from Tasting Table. And this is their 11 best celebrity-owned bourbon brands ranked. This is as of January 8th, 2023. I don't want to get into all the SEO copy crap because I do not care. And it's probably all just nonsense that you already know anyway. So, number 11, Virginia Black. This is Drake's whiskey. I've never tried it. I think it's Sazerac owned. It may even be Buffalo Trace made. I don't remember for sure. Who cares? Drake sucks. Number 10, Bluestone Manor Bourbon. Never heard of this bourbon before. Although Dorinda Medley could be considered a C-list celebrity on this list, might be the reason why. The Real Housewives of New York reality TV star rubs shoulders with some heavyweight celebs. Bingo, bango. She's a celebrity. She's a reality show star. Scott, we're actually going to be talking about Steph Curry's bourbon momentarily. And it's going to be 70% wheat. Goodness gracious. Oh, sorry. No. That's a terrible sentence. Bluestone Manor makes the grade as 70% of its wheat and malted barley mash are made up of corn with a 90 proof alcohol content after... What does that sentence even mean? Bluestone Manor makes the grade as 70% of its wheat and malted barley mash are made up of corn. Can somebody explain what that sentence means to me? I don't know. Wolf Moon Straight Bourbon Whiskey. I don't know if I've heard of this brand before. Country music superstars Jason Aldean and Florida Georgia Line first collaborated on tour in 2014 and have now extended that relationship into the bourbon business. Tyler Hubbard and Brian Kelly lent their prior experience launching the Florida Georgia Line's whiskey venture into the Wolf Moon bourbon brand. Terrific. Pace needs to stick to music. I totally agree, Donnie. Is that from the 130 proof Bottle and Bond guys? I guess so. Or it might. I think it might be, Scott, actually. Didn't Florida Georgia Line break up? Did they? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If they did, I didn't like their music much anyway. So. So what do we have so far? We have one reality TV star and two musicians. So, bully. Brown Sugar Bourbon. This is Jamie Foxx's brand. It's flavored with brown sugar. Ooh, I kind of jumped a little too early on that. But number 7 is American Highway Reserve. Proofreading is fundamental. You're not wrong, Darren. Did I say this is Brad Paisley's? I think it is. This bourbon has a $100 price tag. Woof! That gets you a bourbon that consists of 4 different distillations of Kentucky bourbon aged anywhere from 4 to 15 years. That's not... Hey, but it better be a lot of that 15 year to have a $100 price point. I'm just going to say. Brothers Bond Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is the guys from Vampire Diaries. I almost said True Blood, and I knew that wasn't right. So, got to see these guys, Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley, talk about this brand at Bourbon and Beyond last year. Very interesting, but it's fine. It is getting way overhyped because of the fact that it is these two guys, and they have such a recognizable following. And such a strong following that I think people are willing to give it a pass. So, I don't know. Brown Sugar Bourbon is more like a liqueur. That makes sense. It makes sense. The Paisley's decent. There you go. Papa Ritter, the Rolling Stone lyric. I can't remember the tune. But everybody say what up, Papa Ritter. I'd want to try Bodega Cat 95.5 MGP juice. That sounds awesome. Oh, yeah, sorry, Donnie. I totally forgot about the update on the Papa Ritter house. Unless you're driving, aren't all the seats in a Greyhound bus technically back seats? Yeah. Anyway, Brothers Bond is pretty good. Just, $40 to $60 bottle of Copper Pot and Column Stilled 80 proof 4-grain bourbon. You can kind of get the gist. It's not going to blow anybody's socks off if they've been in the bourbon game for a while. 5 Digits Bourbon from Scottie Pippen. Oh, okay. Weird. A weird label, a weird brand. But I would definitely try it. I'm curious about that one. That's kind of been on my radar for a while. The American Highway is basically Bardstown Bourbon Company fusion aged in a semi. Interesting. If it's not 80 proof or above, I don't touch it. It's like diet booze, except it has more calories, so it makes no sense. Thank you, General Armageddon. Pippin, it's trash. There we go. All right, what was that? Number 4? 5. They put 5 digits bourbon at number 5. Of course they did. Number 4, Sweetens Cove Bourbon. Tennessee's pretty good. The rest of it's just kind of whatever. I don't mean to be that over the top about it. I really don't truly feel that badly or that strongly about it even. It just gets hyped up a lot. Number 3, Bradshaw Bourbon. I have heard great things about Bradshaw Bourbon. I'm willing to give this one a pass. I don't have any problem with that sitting that high on the list. Number 2, Wild Turkey Long Branch, which isn't even affiliated with Matthew McConaughey anymore. McConaughey's association with the brand ended as of December 31st, 2022. So I don't even know if we can still consider this celebrity whiskey. I guess we can, but, you know. Isn't this technically, this is my Bourbon Weekend 3? Yes. Yes. It is. You're over all these brands. Sorry, not sorry. We will get to more of that in a second here, Tony. And Pop Ritter says the house update is it's going very, very, very slow. That is true. Have you had much from Rocktown Distillery? Miss Lennox Cat, the Bourbon Wrench, and Pirate Fredder and I went there last Saturday. Some good stuff, including a single malt. I have not. I would love to try some of that. Bradshaw was Terrapure? I don't know. I don't remember. Genuinely do not remember. But I can go back and look, I suppose. Does not say. Doesn't say. Anyway. Sorry, Donnie. Eden makes that same... Was that in reference to the fart noise? Because she does. She'll rip one. And number 1, Heaven's Door Straight Bourbon Whiskey from, Bob Dylan. And I believe they are moving their production to Kentucky soon as well. So, not really had any Heaven's Door, but apparently it's won more than 35 awards. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Now, I want to get into basically like the more ranting part of this. And the reason is, like, I don't have any problem with new brands. But there's 2 of these that just... It was like the thing that sent me over the edge a little bit. Now, I love Nicolas Cage. I think he is so interesting being the actor that he is, in embracing his weirdness and just giving himself the chance to do whatever he wants to. And, you know, in some way, you know, starting his own bourbon brand might feel like he's going against the grain and like he's doing something unexpected. And truth be told, let me see. I feel like I'm not. No, that's too small. There we go. I feel like he couldn't see me. I don't know. Let's talk about the copy for this. Nick is a whiskey and bourbon man and is branching out into that stuff. He has great taste, so this will be good stuff. Celebrity alcohol brands and whiskey in particular are all the rage at the moment. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, we didn't even talk about Metallica. Yeah, Blackened blows so much of that out of the water. Cage is a no fan of booze. In fact, to film Leaving Las Vegas, director Mike Figgis has said Cage got into character by getting drunk and he wanted to do the entire film drunk. And he's previously discussed a past of substance abuse. Do you really want a guy who's... I don't mean to judge. But it just feels like somebody didn't stop and say, maybe we should really think about this, Nick. Maybe we should really, really stop and think about this. So there's that aspect of it. And then Scott kind of blackened his whiskey and not bourbon. True. Oh, Stacy's here. Hello, Stacy. Oh, where are you? There you are. Cheers, everyone. Scott said, I had the David Ortiz baseball hat, finished one. Tasted like turpentine. That sounds horrible. Tater Dom. Hello, Tater Dom. But yes, blackened is whiskey and not bourbon. They have a bourbon, though. To be frank, it's pretty cool and definitely not anything really architecture-wise you would see in Kentucky. Thanks, Steven. I still have some of Willie Nelson's old Whiskey River. It was duty. Anyway. Rob Report says Steph Curry's making his own bourbon. Scott said earlier that it was coming from Boone County, Kentucky. Mash bill is a pretty standard high rye formula of 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley, and the whiskey was aged for a minimum of 5 years and bottled at 85 proof. Cool. Fine. More overpriced, overhyped 5-year-old whiskey from a celebrity. And this is where things really start to get under my skin. And where I really, really, really have to take a step back and go, it's probably not as bad as you think it is. And the thing is, it probably isn't, because there is so much bourbon that is being made right now. And there's so much bourbon that people have access to. And I understand that by saying things like it's taken away from bourbon that otherwise would be put to good use, I don't think is entirely accurate, because I mean, some of this stuff was made specifically for these celebrities. Some of this stuff was excess stock that distilleries had. And some of it is just plain garbage. Some of it is. But it goes back to something that I said a while ago. That basically the gist of it is just that this could be what bursts the bourbon bubble. This could be what sets us on the wrong path to things. He's making up his own bourbon. Steph Curry is making up his own bourbon. That's good, Donnie. I like that. But the point of it all is just, you know, the market is already overcrowded and oversaturated, and we're already seeing people not know where to go, what bottles to get, and consumers just having trouble jumping into the brand as a whole. And I get it. I totally understand. I see these people who don't know where to start. And I'm not saying that we have the benefit of, you know, being seasoned veterans or anything. I think that's a load of horse crap to call ourselves that. But I do think that we at the very least have the ability to say we know where you should go. We know the direction that you should kind of look in. But here we are. We're just seeing stock being spread thin. We're seeing people getting tired of it, just like Tony says. This is all leading to burnout. It absolutely is. We are going to see a burnout sooner rather than later. Darren says, I agree. This seems like the beginning of the bubble bursting. It absolutely does. It absolutely feels like this is when things are going to take a turn for the worse. When Steph releases his LE and it comes in a basketball-shaped bottle, the shark has been jumped. We've already got a basketball-shaped bottle out there. I'm pretty sure we do. Maybe it's baseball-shaped. I don't know. There's a football-shaped one, too. Apparently, it's not good whiskey. Who cares? Don't spend your money on it. I don't know a lot of... I don't think a lot of them have even tried the whiskey. They just showed up for the photo shoot. I think Peyton Manning was kind of in that same boat. I think that he had no idea what was going in to Sweetens Cove. Or maybe he did. Maybe he did, and that explains why I don't like it very much. Maybe I just don't have the same palate that he does. But whatever. Anyway. Scott says this will kill off craft. I don't know if that's exactly what we're going to see happening. Peyton has Mary Ann do the blend. I disagree with the market being oversaturated. Look at how many different wine and beer brands there are. I mean, I don't think that I'm not trying to say like it's saturated in comparison to. I'm saying, you know, based on the way that the market has been historically, it is saturated. I mean, yeah, there are so many more wine and beer brands that are out there than bourbon brands, but I truly do think that as far as things go right now, we are quite saturated. Is this a reaction to too much stock? No, I don't think so. I think that this started just with tequila brands, and we started seeing people get dollar signs in their eyes, jumping at opportunities that they really didn't need to. But Peyton has Mary Ann do the blend. There we go. Cooperstown Distilling makes the sports-shaped bottles, football, baseball, etc. There we go. Going back to the beginning, Blue Run High Rye Bourbon, 111 proof, pretty dang good. $100 good. I don't know. I don't know the age. I think it's like 4 or 5 years old. I agree. I don't think it's worth that much money. It's really good bourbon, though. It is really good bourbon. But anyway. Even though Brothers Bond isn't the best bourbon, I feel like they at least care a bit about what they're putting out there. Shauna, I think that brings up a really, really good point, that if it would be one thing if we had the excuse me. That helped. It would be one thing if we had these celebrities actively being a part of the brand and the marketing and trying to find ways to support the business that they have started and the jobs that they have created. But it's another thing entirely to just say, I want a bourbon. Give me a bourbon. And then just do nothing else to show for it. I think that's a waste of time. I think that's, that's just a cash grab. But anyway, I don't disagree with you, Shauna. I do think that it deserves to be celebrated for that. But regardless. Ooh, Peerless has a high rye bourbon? I thought they were already high rye. Oh, Bono just bought into a distillery. Ugh. Give me bourbon. Great engagement tonight, folks. Yes, thank you all so much for engaging in the chat, being present, talking about everything, not just with me, but with each other as well. It goes a long way, especially to show folks that we know what's up. Numbers matter. Showing up matters. And I appreciate you guys for showing up and being here with me tonight. And now we're going to take a completely hard left turn into not bourbon and doing Monkey Shoulder blended malt Scotch whiskey, batch 27. Now, this is something that Swan has said. You thought Bono was dead? What? General Armageddon, no. No. But anyway, this is something that for a long time Swan has said that he considers to be the best way to get into bourbon, into Scotch from a bourbon drinker's perspective. And I don't know if I disagree with that. It's why is this not logged in for me? And now for something completely different. Sonny Bono is dead. Yeah, Sonny Bono is no longer with us. After a skiing accident, is that what it was? I apologize. I missed who was before Tony here. Blue Run Bag of Donuts says, I want a bourbon. Give me a bourbon. Give me a bourbon. Meant for cocktails, according to the brand. Fair enough. Swan was drunk when he said that, like Ricky Bobby's dad. Fair enough. Has anyone had the Yellowstone American Single Malt? Not yet, but I would like to. And Scott, to answer your question from earlier too, do you think NDPs will disappear? No, I don't. I think they will still. I think they will still stick around. Papa Ritter's headed out. I think I'll say goodnight and cheers and love to you all. Love you, Dad. He became one with the forest. Is it too soon? I don't know. Anyway, yes, I missed whoever. It looked like an anonymous. Yeah, it was an anonymous snuffy chat. I'm not getting the notification on my phone as to who it was for some reason. PayPal's been weird recently. What do you mean set up my account? Oh, it was Darren. Thanks, Darren. I think the list of NDPs will shrink. Yes, I agree. Now, Donnie says, I respectfully disagree. Monkey Shoulder almost made me avoid Scotch. Luckily, I kept trying till I found the ones I love. Now, I like this. And, okay, let me say something about this bottle, too. I did not steal this bottle. And the reason that I have to clarify that is because there's still the security tag on it, and both me and the cashier failed to realize that it was on there when I was leaving the store. And I didn't steal this bottle. But it just... And it didn't hit me until, like... You guys are sus? I'm sus? And Tony's just calling me guilty. But it didn't hit me until, like, a couple days after I got it. And I was like, what's this weird necklace thing? And then I thought back, and I remembered, oh, when I was trying to leave the store, I kept hearing this, the alarm kept going off, and the cashier and I both kind of looked at each other. We're like, I don't know, like I paid for it. Like we both had the same. We had the same reaction, like, not my fault, must be a faulty system. And then I walked away. It was really good. It was really funny. But this has not been all me. This was also at a party that we went to. The bottle's been open for a little while. I mean, 6-ish months. Batch 27, maybe longer than that. 86 proof. No, the sensor did go. A Dremel will take that off? Fair enough. That is what someone who stole the bottle would say. You're right. It was Kroger, but yeah, Total Wine's fine as well. I got a special tool for that. I don't have this ankle bracelet on because I did anything. It just somehow was still there when I left the store. Anyway, all right. It looks like we're going to go into a little bit of extra innings just so I can get through this review. But thank you guys so much for sticking around tonight. I know that other people are going live as well here in a few minutes. So if you want to head over there, please feel free to. I don't mean to go overtime. But that's how it goes some weeks. And this is just one of those weeks, my friends. That's not a great nose. It's not terrible. It's not an overly like offensive nose, but it's just so like it's so damp smelling. Like wet clothes. I don't know why my car is all blue, officer. Maybe it's from them lights that's coming off of your car. Yeah, it smells like moldy clothes. With a hint of banana. It smells like wet monkey? Oh boy! Oh no! Don't worry about overtime, we just multitask. There we go. Yeah. Moldy clothes and banana. So it bodes well for the rest of this experience. Yeah, that's enough of that. The back end. It tastes like the worst barley forward. And I mean, it is, I guess it's blended malt. It's So I got multiple types of barley, but just like a really barley forward light beer with no balance or crispness to it. It's just kind of a sludge, which is a weird note to give, but it doesn't have any real like definition or character to it that makes it feel like I want to spend time with it or make it. I would want to get into Scotch having had this. Swan, you's wrong. Monkey Shoulder has all the malty notes I don't like. Mine has been open since about 2018 or 2019. I should try it again. You should try it again. I wonder what batch it is. Let's compare. Swan was pulling my leg. He definitely was. Okay. Scotch people. Is this what Sugar Kitty put in the chat? Is this one pronounced with a W or a V? I can't remember. I've heard it both ways, and I'm not just saying that because it's a reference to one of my favorite shows of all time. If you get it. What up? But it is a V, so Balvenie. So what's the one that's spelled similar? Is it Dalwhinnie? That has a V, but it's pronounced like a V? Anyway, Sugar Kitty said Balvenie is more malty and more malty. Can envy even more, and Glenfiddich don't help it either. Interesting. Okay, so Dalwhinnie is the one that has a V, but it has a W. What am I thinking of then? What's the brand that's got a V that's pronounced like a W? Or is it the other way around? Also, Bunnahabhain? The BH is a V? So I was way off. I wasn't even on the same. I don't even know if I was on the same continent or the same whatever area of Scotland. Bunnahabhain. Crazy. Okay, now Darren's saying Dalvhinnie. But is that different from Dalwhinnie? Dalwhinnie? You know, like, I gotta spread that out. This is like a 7 out of 10. I don't know. Or 7 out of 20. I don't know. It's fine. Go watch Roy's videos on how to pronounce Scotch distilleries. I do need to do that. I've always heard that video is really good. Hey, Lil's here! All the way from Brisbane, Australia. Lil, everybody's gonna find this out tonight before listen to Sugar Kitty. I will listen to Sugar Kitty. Bunnahabhain is just blows my mind, man. Golly. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So tomorrow, this is a big preview for next week's episode. Nobody's heard about this yet. We are going to be picking our barrel for This Is My Bourbon Weekend 2023 tomorrow and recording it for the podcast. And it's a bourbon brand that was founded by Australians. If that blows your mind, what does Ledoig do? What Ledoig do? That was the dumbest thing I've said all night. That was good. No, it is not Starward. It's an actual bourbon brand here in Kentucky. Why did I drink that again? Ugh. Icky. That's pronounced LeChick? Or LeChick? Tell Scotland to learn how to speak American. Fair enough. How is that pronounced LeChick? Or Letchick? Ledchick? Oh, Darren, you straight up just don't know what I'm talking about. That's totally fine. You'll find out next Wednesday. Or maybe Patreon's gonna know before then. I don't know. Letchig? Lech egg. Legic. Why does the G gotta be pronounced like a CK? How does that make any sense? Language is beautiful, man. I mean, it truly is. Like, I could sit here and be like, you're stupid, I don't understand why it's pronounced that way. But, like, it's awesome. That's so cool. I wish that I had the bandwidth to create a language. And not just, like, not just be out of a sense of like, oh, I want to have a special code that I use with my friends or family or whatever, like little kids do. But like kind of more in the way of Tolkien. Because I mean, the guy friggin' created a language before he wrote the books. Before Lord of the Rings was even written. He had whatever the language is. I can't even remember the name of the language. But the language that the elves speak, he had that before putting pen to paper. Which is fascinating to me. No, and my brain just doesn't work that way. Hey, Mark Emenecker's here. Dude, good to have you in the chat, my friend. It's more than Donnie. Donnie just said it's Elvish. When you's right, you's right. Like the language in Fifth Element, I don't know this for a fact, but Mila Jovovich had to have improvised that whole thing. Kinda, yeah. I mean, like, just something that I could create and put meaning to. Elvish Presley. Comment of the night. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for that. That's phenomenal. Scott's headed to lay down. Night, buddy. Hope you start feeling better. Do I speak Wookiee? Barely. But I also have not had enough to drink to trust myself with even doing a remotely good impression. I've had really bad anxiety this week. And part of it is bad performance anxiety, which sucks because, hey, if you're in Louisville, I'm going to be back at O'Shea's tomorrow night and Saturday night. I'm not going to be playing my own music. I'm going to be sitting in with the band. But I'm playing guitar for the whole of those 2 nights, which will be the most playing guitar that I will have done in many years, many moons. But anyway, what was I talking about? What was I talking about? Oh, performance anxiety. That's what it was. Yeah, like, I mean, everybody has those things where they're like, oh, if I have a couple of drinks, then I can do it more. That'd be funnier. Like, not even be funnier, but just like, I can't do it right this second. Also, my allergies are just insane. Yeah, my anxiety's been so weird this week. No, I don't want to 9 out of 10 drinkers of Everclear speak Wookiee, but not of their own free will. Fair enough. I don't mean to harp on it, but, you know, I've talked about my mental health in the past, so at the very least, I figured it's somewhat accepted, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but, yeah, just a weird anxiety week, but I felt better today. I needed a couple of good days in a row, and I got them, which has been nice. So I'm gonna pour something before we get out of here because I've only had one glass of bourbon and half a glass of a real bad scotch. So, America. Patrick, I know you're not in the chat, but if you just so happen to be in the chat, I know that you have kind of held on to some bottles of Knob Creek that are special to you and your mama. I just wanted to say there are more of these at the liquor barn nearby. So if you need me to go and grab some for you, let me know. And we will take care of that. But this is a pick from 2020. And Liquor Barn still has some. The one by me at the very least, which is nuts. It's just crazy, man. I did find one from Liquor Barn the other day as well, which was 10 and a half years old. Almost 11. I mean, over 10 and a half years old. But oh, yes. Oh, did I see Lil's getting off? She's leaving. She's getting off the train. Bye, Lil. Hope you will. Hope you've had a good Friday and that Saturday is good for you too. It's like a complete 180 from Monkey Shoulder. Speaking of bottles, do you still have our Riffmas? It is still with Brian and Tammy, but they do have it. And I still need to get Patrick, if you are by chance still watching or listening, I am so sorry I haven't gotten your box out to you yet. I will do it. I'm very, very sorry. I owe you like just a free bottle, honestly. But anyway, is that it? Been going for over an hour? I'll check with Tammy. Good call. Should we do anything? What do you want? Do you guys have any questions or anything? Who's not on the Discord yet? I mean, you got to be on the Patreon to get on the Discord, but Evan Favacci's on the Discord. What's up, buddy? Hope you're well. Says hello. I'm sorry. I'm also leaving Mark Emenecker's Elvis Presley joke up on screen because how could I not? I know you're owed samples too, Bill. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Get it going in and coming out. No, I am sorry, genuinely. Oh, man. When are the drawings? I will do those next week. Promise. I will do the drawings next week. I almost did them this week, and I didn't have enough time to get them together. I have a little bit more time next week. The drawings will be done live on air next Thursday. Cross my heart. Lock the key, throw it away. I don't freaking know. Just going to raid my stash. What makes you think y'all are coming to my house in May? I'm trying to get this house ready to sell. No, we'll take care of the drawings next week. Good question though. Darren, they are for the Splash giveaway and for the January review giveaway. Admiral Bass Ackward showed up. Can you pick me up from the port of Lexington? Yeah, homie. Just let me know when and where. And if you know Patrick too, by chance, I said earlier that there's more of these Knob Creek bottles available. And if you could by chance pass the message on to him, if he needs any. I know that there are more that are present. Yeah, sorry, Darren. That's what I meant. But also a good question. And I guess Admiral Bass Ackward's question was pretty good too. Who's Patrick? Yes, Patrick Starr. Patrick Starr, key component to the conversation that we're having right now, I suppose. Starr, key in on some of the things that I might be talking about or alluding to here. Evan Favacci, what stores do I need to hit in Lexington? Oh, what stores do you need to hit in Lexington? I'll tell you what. What's that? Some dumb Hulk Hogan bit? Tell you what. For those who are joining us on This Is My Bourbon Weekend 2023, I will provide a hunting list for people. Maybe we'll make it into a competition as well at some spots around Lexington that I recommend that you go to. Because there are some great spots here. I'm not going to Bikini Bottom anytime soon. You may just want to grab that guy a bottle. He may just want it. He may just want it, Admiral Bass Ackward. Total Wine and go see Chad, My Daily Bourbon. He's the best. That is going to be... Oh, I don't want to... That's not my news to share. I'll let Chad tell when the time comes. Anything else to talk about? I got these samples of the Jack 10 and 12 have been staring at me. I haven't had them since we reviewed them, but oops. Nope. You know what? I am not going to put the bourbon on the laptop. Fun fact for those of you who have been around for about a year, it's been just over a year since I spilled bourbon on my last computer and had to go to the store the next day and get a new one. So, will it at Eric's? Yes. Blend them. Bill, we did a blend of them on the episode that we reviewed them on. It was towards the end. So, anyway. All right, we're running out of steam. Folks are headed out. Bourbon noob Patrick finally showed up. What's going on? I just got a message from some weird Navy guy calling me a starfish. Hey, man. He's got the information. You may just want to ask him about it. Or maybe General Armageddon. I don't know if he's still here or not. But anyway. Thanks for swinging by, Pat. And thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope that you enjoyed the new format that I'm kind of leaning towards with the lives. I think it gets everybody a little bit more engaged, a little bit more involved, and it kind of just feels like another episode of the podcast that you're kind of watching getting recorded live, but also just an opportunity to chat more. So next week, I don't know, since this is going to kind of be a news thing now. I'm busy drinking with Brandy in California. I'm not sure what is going on. It's all good. Got to run work calls. Well, we got to run here too. But we will see you guys back here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Right back here on YouTube. Thank you all so much again for watching, listening, whatever the heck you've been doing. Just supporting the show. It matters a whole heck of a lot. Go show your love on socials. Support the show on Patreon. All that good stuff. See you guys next week. Until then, I'm Perry, and this is TIMBP.